What are some things that people could do to really own their confidence again and build it back up?
People leaving work, you're seeing people almost reevaluating themselves, trying to understand their lives. People are not as assertive or certain about a lot of things.
They're not definitive. They're not clear.
They're not, it's very fear-based, I'm not sure. And we're also in this space where people are afraid to say the wrong thing. So it's fear in so many ways. So it's not just the physical fear of the body, right? The illnesses, the COVID, all that stuff. But it's also this fear of what is the world going to think of me? How am I going to be labeled? And I will sit in class, I will ask a question. Nobody raises their hand. They don't want to be wrong. I think bravery is something that we don't speak about, and courage is something we don't speak about. We don't do it in a very overt way, in a very physical way, in a very engaged way. It's talked about as this like thing. Oh, be brave, be motivated. Well, where is that? You have to manifest that with your body. You have to do it. And it's doing it in the day-to-day decisions that you make. And here's the other amazing thing. I think we don't understand how to disagree. So you can disagree, or you can be competitive. It's something actually that you're taught in interviewing and in interrogations.
Are you trying to be competitive in interrogation?
So when I say competitive, I mean that I can disagree with you in a healthy way. So you call it competitive dialogue. So I may, for example, I have a very strong belief system, fitness and working out. It's been part of me. But that's my belief system. It is not somebody else's. If I try to impose it to somebody, so for example, when you hear somebody say, I have to lose weight, their belief system is not really based upon working out and fitness. So I can turn around and be very direct. And that's being direct with someone is the way you lose people. You want to always let people talk, even if you don't like what they have to say, even if you don't agree with them. Let them go. Let them explain themselves.
What happens when you let someone explain themselves, even when you know they're 100% wrong?
You shut up. Don't correct them. Don't tell them that they're wrong. Just let them be in their world. Now, here's the important thing. One, they're going to say everything they want to say. You're going to understand what their mindset is. And two things happen. One, you can speak now because once somebody's done sharing everything, now they can hear you.
What happens when people avoid conflict as much as possible, as opposed to leaning into it and being comfortable with the discomfort of conflict?
That is very dangerous and it is very bad. If it's important to you, you should address it. What you do is it causes long-term regret. It causes you to build up resentment, anger, bitterness, and hate. That's where that comes from.
And the other person doesn't even know what they did, maybe.
Maybe they know, but if you don't check them, when you debate something with people, use language that's factual and tangible to look at. Rather than, I feel this way, I feel that way. That's what happens is we get lost a little bit. We also have to check in with ourselves. Sometimes we can be difficult people to deal with. We always and there's this, I don't know if you've noticed this, there's this theme out there. Everybody's a narcissist and everybody's toxic. And we don't realize, one, toxic people hang out with toxic people. So check in with yourself. So if you're around a lot of toxic people, check in with yourself.
Why is it so scary for people to speak about a disagreement or a conflict?
One, because the theme is to avoid it. Avoid the stuff, avoid confrontation. Conflict and confrontation have a very negative stigma. I always tell people, embrace confrontation. Just how we perceive people, but it all goes back to the way we size people up. We have our perceived ideas of what we think of people. You meet someone, within the first 5 seconds, you size them up. Make your impression of them, what you think of them. And once you make that impression, especially if it's negative, it's very hard to undo.
After a first impression, to change your mind about someone. Right? Once you see them or you meet with them for a second or you talk to them for 30 seconds, you've made up probably a lot of your bias about that person based on the way they look, the way they sound, what they say, facial expression, I'm assuming, body language. If that is so important, whether it be a stranger or an important meeting.
You have to bring all of you. And this is truly science-based, is almost 70% of what you communicate with people is this, your body. And people don't pay attention to it. So when they're sitting in a meeting, something as simple as having very poor posture, so slouching the whole time. Sit up, show them you're there, taking space. So if I take space, so if I was doing this interview with you and I just was kind of sitting like this,
right,
I'm conveying to everybody out there, I'm not sure of myself, I don't feel comfortable, I'm insecure. You're gonna make an assessment of me. But when you take up space, when you open yourself up, it shows I matter, I'm here.